Well, welcome back to my listeners. Thanks for joining us again on another episode of The Depths of Healthcare. Really excited to have our guest today, Suzanne. Suzanne has a ton of great experience that she's going to be able to share with us, but I'll let her introduce herself. Suzanne, why don't you let the people know who you are?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me. I'm very grateful, first of all. And so, again, my name is Suzanne Cano, and I am the CEO and founder of a company called Lunalite Dental. We are a company based out of North Carolina. I founded the company about 5 years ago, commercialized last year, but my background has been in the dental imaging space for about 25 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I've had, a lot of experience in sales and imaging, and also in the clinical side. I was a dental assistant to start off with in Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Chicago, and I just kind of worked my way up to where I'm at now. Well, I didn't expect to be a founder or CEO of this company. And the device itself is for X-ray positioning. So as a ex-dental assistant, the worst thing I mean, I didn't know how to take dental x-rays. I was on job
Right.
training. And so some dentist hired me out of like I was only about 15 years old in Chicago, and I did part-time work with him.
Yeah.
He just kind of showed me how to take x-rays, but I never understood the angulations are required to take
Yeah.
x-rays. So it was like really hard for me because I kept missing the shot, overexposing the patient and overexposing myself as well to all these just radiation in general.
Hopefully no thyroid disease.
No, knock on wood. I've been good, so I'm grateful for that. So yeah, I know I was a little worried about that, but I didn't think about that when I was younger in the field.
Yeah, you never do. You never
No,
do.
you just don't. Nor did I have a dosimeter. Like, none of that was like, given to me in,
Right.
dental x-ray field. So I got a dosimeter when I started um training for head and neck scanners. So after that, I moved into the sales realm of it, and I just started working with some big companies, and I was lucky enough to be able to work with companies that launched new products, and I was able to see their downfall, their good side, the upside, the ugly, the good. So then I worked with some startups, and so just kind of moving into like educational side, which I didn't know I was being set up for like my own company, which I wasn't like, I guess part of me did want a small company. And many, many years ago, back in 2005, I did have a small company. Well, very, very far. So it just kind of, it was like one of those things where I just kind of
Mhm.
allowed my partner to take over, and so then I kind of went into, again, that was when I was a lot younger and moving into the sales and marketing side. So
Right.
I kind of relied on, other companies, but I was really learning a lot of things, which, I'm grateful for because I got a lot of experience learning how to launch new products, especially in the imaging field. So this is where my love for it came in, where you had your 3D applications, how do you render your images? We went into like technical things where I went into hospitals, military facilities, private offices. I trained, I helped installed on PAC systems. And so just kind of worked
Yeah.
to all of that. Like it was a mixture of technology and a mixture of like clinical at the end of the
Right.
and so the company was founded again like about 5 years ago. I was in clinical testing for about 4 years. It was a long time because I pushed it myself, and I had to go through learning like FDA. I had to go through like doing this all on my own. I had to understand development. I had to understand manufacturing, then to launch it and commercialize it. And then it just keeps going, like research,
Yeah.
listening to like the needs out there. Is it a perfect product? Do people like it? So it's been a whirlwind. And this accidentally happened through a dream. So I
Yeah.
invented this device. So I'm also the inventor of the device. And
Oh, cool. So you have the patent yourself.
I have a patent myself. Yeah, I had to go through patents and create my own patent and just the development side. So, and the whole purpose for it was to really create a laser positioner for an existing x-ray so that it's a laser guided positioner. So it helps the user find the angulations needed, and a laser kind of pops out into the patient's movie and it lets the assistant know that you've caught the right angle, you can take the shot. So that's what the whole purpose of Lunalight was for, and that was founded by a dream, 5 almost 5 years.
Legitimate dream you just had.
Yeah, I was yeah, I dreamt I was drawing a device in my dream. So I woke up drawing this device in my dream. And
Uh,
so I'm very faith-based. So for me, I prayed about it and I knew it was like there was like this energy behind this dream. And so I asked God to tell me like, is this something that you need me to do? Because it was so
wow.
impacting. And I did ask for a sign. So I'm like, I'm gonna confirm this because this is an unusual dream. I'm not waking
Yeah,
up at 5 o'clock in the morning drawing what I just saw in my dream.
right.
And so I asked to see a green lizard. Not sure why. I just came out of my head, just like this green lizard. I just want to see this. That's my sign to go for it. That same day, I woke up. I was 5 o'clock in the morning, so I couldn't sleep anymore. I was up in my kitchen. I just started drinking coffee. I walked out to my porch, and there's this little green lizard, the greenest lizard that I can see on my porch. And it took off, and I'm like, I just saw the green lizard. This is not a coincidence. So I went full on. I mean, that day I started drawing the device. I went up to Upwork and I started looking for help on how to, I didn't understand what it was really for. So
Right.
through time, I was understanding what does this device mean? But I want to develop it. Here's my drawing. It was
Yeah.
re-engineered like 3 times before I got it to that now. So in a nutshell, that's really how Lunalight started, was really with
Wow.
this amazing dream and this confirmation. And so now on a lot of my marketing brochures, there's a little green lizard like on the lower right hand side.
Yeah.
Just so
Yeah.
people find it, they ask me about it and I tell them the story.
That is such a cool story. Like it's you've had a two-part confirmation. I mean, you had the dream planted and then you had the confirmation immediately.
Right. There was like, 3 hours later, and it was like, wow, that's unusual. Now, some people might say, well, you live in North Carolina. But I gotta say, I don't normally see a lot of green lizards. I see brown lizards, but I don't see a lot of lizards. I see snakes, but not a lot. Not that I'm not saying there aren't any, but I hadn't on and how, I don't believe in coincidence. And to me, it was like, this is definitely not a coincidence. If I ask for a sign and it's shown to me right there, and then shame on me if I don't go through with this plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, then you'd be kind of resisting the movement and the opportunity, the doorway that had been cracked open for you.
Right. Whereas some
Yeah.
people are like analysis by paralysis. There's that saying, like, you analyze it too much and then it just like fades away. Well,
As you buy.
yeah, exactly. And there that goes. And I think that happens to a lot of people and they don't hone in on like, I do believe that we get messages, when we sleep.
Yeah.
And that's just my theory. And that's what I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's like, here I am.
That is so cool. I mean, that was what, 5 years ago now with that initial dream?
Yes. Right.
Yeah. And just to be able to like I mean, what I love is that you didn't overanalyze. You just said, "Okay, I've it's been confirmed. I dreamt about it. I need to move forward with this or at least explore it because this is an opportunity that seems too surreal to not consider and take seriously."
Yeah, I think that, like I said, I don't live in a coincidental world. I believe that with my faith, those two can't exist. So it's either faith or coincidences. And I didn't want to be lukewarm on that because it just was so impacting. Like I knew this was my assignment. Like this is it. This is what I had been searching for internally. Like because I love
Yeah,
imaging. And now when I think about it, it was like God setting me up to do this. Like
totally. He had 20 years of experience for you to kinda set everything up.
right. And you got to think about that when people are set up for a reason, like you got to look at it. Why am I being set up? Why do I like this so much? Imaging was my passion. I love going into practices. I love training offices on like patients, imaging systems. I mean, this was like and that's pretty dry. Some people would say, really? That was your passion? But it truly was. I mean, I learned so much about three-dimensional reconstruction applications. And so
Right.
for me, it was like so exciting. And so it took me to where I'm at now. And not that my device is anywhere near that, it's just a positioner, but I am in the second phase of the device itself, going into a Bluetooth device. And then third phase would be AI applications with that.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to delve more in depth into that, like the actual kind of nuts and bolts and the breakdown of these different iterations that you're progressing with, because I think, I mean, from what I've talked about and with different kind of developers on the developer side of different technology, it's all about how AI is utilized, correct? So, what did you see from, variation 1 to the second with Bluetooth, and what do you see coming with AI? What are your ideals or visions with that?
So with the first phase, it was more like, will people buy it? It was like proving the concept. Had it manufactured and it was absolutely like people could not, because there's no comparison. There's nothing else out there quite like it yet. Obviously, things will start to progress and people will start to catch on. So with the first phase, I was so detailed about it. And I know my developers were like, oh no, here she goes. But they didn't understand the clinical side. So I was advocating for the end user, because I know that if the end user doesn't like it, then they're not going to use it and they're not going to buy it. So, development doesn't see that. And so I understood that if it's not developed a certain way, then the workflow is going to be so off for this office or this facility that they're not going to want to buy it. So phase one was really just to kind of test the waters. No, I was going to go into phase two. I really just thought, okay, well, I'll help
One and
the
done.
store, right? And I didn't think anything until I partnered with a company, a marketing company that was really well known in the dental industry, and it's pioneered by a doctor, an orthodontist, who had just so many hands on everything, just really well known, very respected in the industry. And he like kind of mentored me and wrote my first article, my first publication on a
Oh, cool.
magazine, and it was really exciting because no one had a device like this and no one has it yet.
Right.
So my hope was to have people learn it. Now, disrupting doesn't mean good all the time, because I was disrupting a system that has never been disrupted before. Like for
Right.
45 years, people are used to using those ring holders. You have like a ring, you bite down in the dental office. That ring is so that the assistant knows where to position the X-ray unit.
It's very vague though in its positioning because,
Really is.
that's user dependent.
Right. Exactly. Where mine is really just basically it's automated as well. So you don't there's like 9 angles in there, and all the angles are needed for positioning the X-ray unit. And all you have to do is really wait for the laser. Now, schools loved it right off the bat. Private offices were kind of like, I don't know about this. They just get themselves off of using the manual ring holders,
Right.
because they knew where that sensor in the mouth was at. So, and I'm like, well, I have to go back. So great for the schools, phase one. Then I have to go back and redo this for the private offices. So phase two is Bluetooth. Phase two is a design where we have this algorithm that is actually connected to an existing snap. It's called a snap array, where they put in a film in. It's a bisecting technique where they're not using the ring holders. The ring holders are called the paralleling technique. So the bisecting is kind of like where you have some offices that are really good without needing to use the ring holders. Most people can't do it because they don't know angulation. So with the Bluetooth, we got the same thing. We have Lunalight that's attached to the existing X-ray unit. Now with this one, it has a little device that has a little light in it. And so attaches to the snap ray. So all you have to do is slide it in. And what it's doing, it's detecting where the sensor is at in the mouth. And so it's bringing the information back to Lunalight. And once both are aligned properly through the external angulation and the internal angulation, a light goes on the little sensor and where the Bluetooth device is at. Away from the mouth, but it's calculating where that sensor or that film is at in the mouth.
Sure.
And that's where I'm at. That's the second phase.
I'm interrupting real quick. Does it automatically capture at that point, or does the hygienists need to take the picture at that point when it kind of turns green in a sense?
Right. So when it turns green, when the lights align, the Lunalight has another green light and a laser. So that's the external. So when both lights are aligned green, red is on, the assistant then has to go and take the x ray. So she
Okay.
has to
Okay.
click on the x ray button. Right.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And then, so how does this progress to the next stage? What do you envision for the next stage?
So I didn't really think about this until I started doing like the phase two. And I'm like, wow, we can really integrate AI in here. And so my thought process on that was, why would I need it first? First of all, why would I need it? Well, emulation is so needed because especially for orthodontists, when they're doing like ortho work, they need to know angulation. So first of all, it's like it would be super easy to create software, the Lunalight software. That's just a generic name right now. Be able to capture all the angulations and then submit it into data. So that every patient that comes in every 6 months, we take x-rays. We're now looking at the different angulations, you know, where there is there movement? Is there like different angulations means their movement, right? And so that
Right.
captures that information, that data, where that data can be possibly used for other things, maybe third party. So it can be very well used for those specific purposes. And it really would, in my opinion, I think it would definitely help out a lot of third party companies that are looking to create. And this is a great place to like start if they're doing anything in x-ray. So and that's how I envision a for now. Will that change? Possibly, depending on who I start conversing with and start, brainstorming with, because it can go further.
Right. And that's super cool to know. That's what keeps you excited to continue to grow, probably, is that you know that there's so much more opportunity out there.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the exciting part. It's like you just, this little seed started with like this dream. And then it's like now I have a tangible device and now it's like moving towards to different phases.
And people actually want it. I mean, I hope that, have you seen, obviously the schools were kind of your first sign-ons because probably just because of a low threshold for testing in that sense.
Right. Exactly.
How has it been? Has it been kind of coming around recently with the private clinics more so?
Not for the private clinics yet. So I think the schools have really just like grabs onto it. I mean, I have Tufts University using it,
Yeah.
NCAA, just a couple other universities that like really have, taken into like realizing that this is what's needed, to be able to
Right.
teach our students bisecting technique. Private offices have already been trained. So that's like breaking a mold. That's like
Mm,
workflow, or you have to break them out of that workflow where it could have been in the school teaching them this system. So it really is a lot of red tape I have to swim through in order to break the
gotcha.
workflow that they're used to using. Yeah. And this is why I think the Bluetooth will help out some of the private offices.
Right, right. That'll probably be the breakthrough, is what you're envisioning, correct?
I do. I envision that, correct. And then at some point, phase one will phase out to it being phase two.
Completely.
Right.
What are the okay, so now we're kind of going to take a tiny bit of a step back and more look kind of overall, but you've given us the technical, kind of information and what your product is and how it works and the dreams you have of how it continues to progress. What are kind of the ups and downs of riding this journey since the dream occurred? I mean, being a small business owner, trying to get a patent for your device, developing a team to kind of help and finding the right people to partner with. I mean, what's that been like?
Yeah, well, it's not been easy. I, you know, I, I guess when I saw the lizard, I thought everything was going to be smooth sailing, right? Green light all the way. I didn't realize there'd be so many hurdles and so many hurdles I did have to go through. The first hurdle was to find a development company because it's different when you have it designed. Then you got to find a development company because you have to have the chemicals, electronics put into that. Trust me, I learned about sensors. Bought an Arduino kit to learn about sensors, started
Wow.
learning some code, and I was like, okay, well, I want to know the inside of what what the internal sites are going to be, how I can help out with that, things like that, where I educated myself as well.
Right.
And I was on go every day. There was something I was doing. I just couldn't stop. It was like this movement, this energy.
Yeah.
So then when I went into the drawing and the drawing was coming alive, it was even more exciting. So then I'm finding a development company. I found someone that was working independently, and unfortunately he ripped me off, and
Mm,
I didn't get any, and I didn't know development. There's so many wolves. I guess in any I didn't know. I was so green. I was like, well, I don't know. And so I paid him up front. And right off the bat, it was like 5 months later. And now he's not returning any of my calls. No drawing was sent. Nothing was submitted, just a lot of talk. And so I called my credit card company and I filed a claim against him because I paid him through my credit card.
right.
Well, thank God. Thank God, because I got my money back. So yeah, they red flagged him. I got my money back. Right after that, 3 months later, I went to a different development company here in my backyard, North Carolina. So I thought that would be good. This company was like, seemed really good, straightforward,
Vetted.
even more money, and I couldn't get my money back. So I lost so much money with them. It was so sad because here I am bootstrapping this company and
Yeah.
I got nothing but PDF files. So what they did was their prototype, because I was looking for a prototype, their prototype was that they would create how the prototype would be.
Okay.
And so it was like literally a PDF file of how they think it would be created. And that was the
Is that
prototype. That was like,
but that's not what you're paying for.
I know, but they did it so schemingly that they said that that was the prototype. And so I signed off on it because in my mind, prototype is something tangible. In their
Yeah.
mind, it was like, "No, this is the prototype. Now you gotta pay us this much more so we can develop it." Really, really sad. At that,
Yeah.
I really wanted to be done with it. I was like,
You're ready. Yeah, you're ready.
"I'm done. This is not gonna work for me." And for like a week, I had this dream about this lion. And it was just like constantly having this, like every day I had this dream about a lion. And then I started reading the Bible a little bit more and I realized that the lion in the Bible is Jesus. And so there was like a lot of things that were happening spiritually with me because I was giving up. I'm like, I already spent so much money. This is not supposed to be for me. And there was like this, again, this alignment, this like spiritual movement to like keep going. And I remember in one of my dreams, I heard, I didn't design you to be weak. I designed you to be a fighter. So
A
fight.
lion.
Heard that. Yeah. So everything was aligning. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it with an even smaller budget. So then I
There
went
you go.
to Upwork and I worked with this amazing person from India. He literally was so great. And I love Upwork because you don't pay them off the bat. You pay them, by milestones. And I didn't know that. I should have learned that the second time, right? I just didn't know
Yeah.
because, you're so green. So this time I understood and it was
Right.
a small fraction of what I paid this development company. And he was just great. He just, like, knew what I was needing. We worked day and night, didn't sleep for days. I literally for weeks. And I haven't had a vacation time for 5 years. So everything has been really about this development. And my vacation is like a staycation or a weekend somewhere, but that's what I'm living off because you put all this money into your project.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was not easy. So those were a few of my hurdles,
Sure.
and then it came to FDA. So it was like,
Mhm.
so FDA, and I was like a little nervous about that because I wasn't too sure how to handle it. So I, talked to a FDA company. They wanted to charge me like $25,000 to, so they did some research before I even paid that. And they said, FDA, you don't, this is a class one. So you just have to register it. And I was like, oh, okay. So then they wanted to charge me $15,000 for the registry. And I thought, well, I don't know how better that is. So then I decided to go on FDA site and try to do it myself. I'm like,
Yeah, why not?
where can it be, right? Took me 1 hour, one phone call to an agent, and I FDA registered my device without having to spend $15,000.
That's a $15,000 hourly charge.
I know, isn't that nuts?
Wow.
It's like you really FDA is great that you call them, and the agent was so good about walking me through, and
Yeah.
that was it. It was 1 hour later, and I was like, "Are you serious?" They wanted to charge me
A
15,000.
lot of sharks, a lot of sharks, a lot of wolves.
So crazy. Now you can come to me and I'll only charge you 5,000. No, I would never do that. That's terrible. I would just say,
That's
just get
terrible.
in there and do it yourself. Now,
Totally.
I'm saying that because it was a class 1, so 510 clearance, probably a little bit different, but that doesn't mean ChatGPT can't help me with that nowadays. And
Exactly.
this was before ChatGPT, so
Right.
do it on my own. FDA was, again, it could have been a really bad thing.
Could have been. Yeah. I'm glad you did not spend that money.
Exactly. Then I started learning. I started really like I was learning like how to save and not have to spend. I know big companies would hate this conversation because they spend millions in R&D, and it was one person to develop a medical device, class 1, a device bootstrapped, and so that was a couple of the hurdles. And I believe that after all of that, manufacturing was probably better. Because
Okay.
that point, the manufacturer I used was really great. I did have a middleman to help me with that. It took a long time, but it was a better experience. And then from there,
Okay.
everything started to kind of fall into alignment. And so I didn't.
And are you also kind of even, I mean, so manufacturing kind of came together much easier, but so all the hurdles at that point, now it's just finding the people to get it in their hands and kind of getting agreements on the table. This is more your past experience of sales and marketing, more aligning with that. Did you also wear that hat and kind of continue to progress that just solo?
Yeah, absolutely. I called the schools. I used my sales background and I called schools, and everyone would say no, except for one dental school that I called, and I talked to this lady, and I write everyone's names down, and she just wasn't available. And the one time I called her on the phone, and she was like, "No, I can't let you do that." I'm like, "But I know you have a dummy sensor, a dummy head, like they have the dummy heads there, and I just want to try it out." She's like, No, I don't think that's going to work out." And then she's like, "But what's in it for me?" And I was like, "Oh, okay."
You got her interested.
Yeah, there was my way in. I'm like, "Well, I can buy you lunch. I'll give you $100, and then once I manufacture it, I'll give the school one." She's like, "Okay, I'm only going to give you about an hour to test it out." Fine. We are now friends. That was years ago. We are now friends.
Yeah.
And I did give the school one, but that's how I started. And then I started going to trade shows.
Yeah.
Tufts happened. I was at a trade show. I had my booth there, a little booth there, and one of the people I had known for in the industry for a while, he came up to me with his friend who was a radiologist at Tufts University, or radiologist. And he like looked at my device and said, "Oh my God, I teach the dental schools how to take X-rays. They're terrible." He gave me his information. He's like, "Please call me. I want to set this up." Sure enough, Tufts then, started using
Wow.
it. And then from there, NC State, UNC, and then we just started kind of working towards the schools, calling people. Then people started kind of seeing that there's this one little small dinky, trade show room, booth, I should say. And, they start, "What is this? What is happening here?" And so I really hit social media really hard too, as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, that's so cool. I mean, what all it takes is just that little door opening again, just to find out. So what's in it for you? Okay, she's hooked a little bit. Let me sweeten this deal a little bit more. And I think, I mean, from my perspective, from what I'm seeing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and kind of for the listener's sake, but it is hard to break through for the private clinics, but that's a whole untouched. I mean, multi like your business could extremely scale. I'm assuming if you get to into private clinics, correct?
Right. We can go into DSOs, which last year I was invited to do a pitch event for a very prestigious group called ADA Dental. Very well known in the industry, all so many investors there, and it's a very small private event. I believe there was like 20 or 25 companies that pitched. Myself and one other female founder were the only female founders there. And so I Where am I going with that? I learned a lot. And so what I learned was that there was a need for a device like mine from a lot of the doctors that had a speaking role and talking about how much they're needing this because there's just, or a device like mine, because there's a lot of people that are leaving, the healthcare. And you see a lot of people moving out of healthcare space, especially in dental. You're not seeing dental hygienists or dental assistants. And so they have hire on people without experience, possibly not even have a lot of schooling. And so they have to hire people on. So it's really a teaching device.
So like a 15-year-old, in Chicago, they just hire on, you know?
Right. Exactly. I know, just like me, right? I mean, Illinois is one of those states that don't require a lot of that, but the American Dental Association is realizing that sometimes they're going to have to take a chance like that. And so that was part of the dental field. Now, also going into the veterinarian side, because my device also is for vets. So it's,
Wow.
yeah. And so I've also had, I'm not pushing the vet side as much because putting two, just the amount
Yeah.
of money it takes for two sectors is very expensive. But I did have a couple of the devices being used by veterinarian offices. One of the doctors really loved the device. He sent me a video. He's like, I had to hire someone without experience. A video of this kid with no experience taking a full set of x rays with my device without getting
Right.
taught, so that was very powerful.
Yeah, and utilize that, being able to utilize that for your marketing.
Exactly, and that was so exciting, and I do have that on my website, so you see him taking
Good.
the full set of X-rays. Yeah, so yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, what ideas or what strategies, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, but what do you have in place or dreams about for kind of continuing to scale your business? Obviously, you've worked so hard to get to the point where you are right now. But obviously, you have dreams of continuing this into, I mean, the stratosphere is what I assume when it's your child and you've been, blessed by the dream, and then you continue to feel that it's not coincidence that things keep falling into place. I mean, how does your faith lead you to kind of see where things are going to go?
Yeah, so I've seen visions of this, like, part of me is like, "Oh, I could sell it off and not deal with it," but I keep thinking about that lion, the fighter, and it's like, I can't put it aside and say this isn't real, this is real, absolutely real. So what I've seen moving forward is manufacturing. I've seen giving out more jobs and in a country where we need more people to develop, and especially in our own country. And so I have started to see these visions of like having a manufacturing plant and then
Mm,
just growing it and growing a team where I'm not even close to that, but my vision is there.
yeah.
It's not mine. I'm not doing it. I do believe it's a spiritual vision. Whether it happens or not, I think it might, because there's just so many alignments already happening towards this. I've not been, I have no VC funding. Again,
Wow.
bootstrapped all the way, and I still see this vision that at
Wow.
some point it is going to happen. And that's another subject. It's really hard for female founders to get funded. It's
Yeah.
like a statistic that 94% of males get funded in tech,
Versus how much, what's the percentages for females?
or probably less than 4%. Yeah, exactly. It's really sad. It's really sad. And it's
Wow.
why, the awareness about med tech founders, my story, I want to get on every podcast so that people will know that.
Yeah.
Just to get the word out, it's, if I can do it, someone else can do it, and on a budget too. So there's ways to do it. And, proving the concept is, not an easy thing. But once you prove it, then things start to fall into place and then people start to see. And at this point, no funding means maybe I'll just fund it myself if a VC doesn't believe in me enough.
Right.
I'm happy if I'm not going international because, I've been asked, are you going to go international? I get calls about like selling it in different parts of Europe. Like,
Right.
no, it's too much to scale. I have so much in my backyard that I need to like really hone in on my backyard rather than having to pay all of that going international.
Right.
And that doesn't mean I won't. It just means that right now I'm just trying to scale here in my backyard.
Right. Right. And there's so much potential already, like you said. I mean, you've got private orthodontists, you got private dentists. I don't know what you probably know what the numbers are a little bit better across the country, but
Yeah, 204,000 denter. I got a lot to play with, there's just a lot.
lot to play with. It's like settle your affairs in your house first
Right.
before you start looking in other neighborhoods.
Right. I mean, think about it percentage wise. If you tap into 204,000 up to 3%, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's not including dental schools. That's not including like dental
Veterinarians.
veterinarians. And it just kind of hospitals too. I didn't realize that. And I just found this out myself. Dental x-rays are taken most at hospitals.
I did not know that.
Emergency rooms, yeah, when they, go into a lot of people that are in car crash and they have to take dental x-rays as well. I didn't either, I just found the statistic out and I thought, "Wow, that's interesting."
I haven't heard of that. Actually I mean, because my listeners know, but I practice in the emergency room as a PA. I think most often what we do is doing a CT scan of the maxillofacial bones. But that's an interesting statistic. I'm curious, like where, like who, maybe it's these ERs in more rural communities that are getting the traumas initially that don't have quick access to CTs, the specialized region. And
Right.
so they have to do those dental x-rays. That's very interesting.
I wonder if it was a combination, like, the article may
Okay.
have been a combination of CT scans and versus, dental x-rays.
Yeah.
Because you're right, because not every hospital will have CT scanners. They might have a dental
They're
x-ray machine.
expensive. Yeah, they're expensive. Man, Suzanne, I am so excited for what's to come. I know you are too, because you can feel it. You can feel the energy coming off of you and being able to explode. I hope my listeners can even, I mean, if anybody has any in touch with private dentist office, or if you are a dentist listening, please listen to what Suzanne's telling us about. Because I think that reduces the overhead. I mean, it reduces needing to train also. And you can trust that the x-rays that you're getting and the measurements that you're getting from your product are accurate and give you the best tools to be able to make your clinical decisions afterwards.
Right. And affordable as well. So, and that was really important for me. I didn't want to create a device where it was going to be too expensive, outrageously. I wanted to make sure that the end user sees the benefit and likes the price because they have to actually always buy these like plastic ring holders every 6 months to a year because they have to be autoclaved. And then they have to buy all these, expensive 350 $350 to almost $400 depending on the kit, how many you need. And if you think about it, each operatory room in a dental office has about four. So each one is going to need a kit. So where my device is really inexpensive at 475. So yeah.
Gotcha. So comparatively speaking, and also you don't need four of them in every exam room.
Unless you want it, I'm not going to say no. So if you have dental x-ray units in every
You're like, hey, you can buy 100. I'll give you a bulk discount.
exactly, I'm not going to say no.
Man, super cool. So, as we kind of like tie things off, where are some ways that people can get connected with your journey and with your business and kind of continue to maybe even boost it on their separate channels if they're listeners of mine?
Yeah, so two places, my website, which is Lunalite, Ualite. So it's light instead of Light. So lunalitedental.com, which is my website. But I'm also on LinkedIn under Lunalite Dental and Suzanne Cano as well, which I think I'm a little bit more active on my personal account.
Okay. Got it. Cool. Man, I mean, this has been such a great episode of just like talking to you and kind of hearing your story. I'm just really excited to hear where this goes. And what I would honestly love is for us to be able to reconnect in 6 to 12 months and kind of reevaluate and see, okay, so here's what's happened since we last talked. And it would just be super fun for our listeners too.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Suzanne, thanks for stopping by. Thanks so much just for sharing your journey. Really excited to hear what growth potential continues to come down the pipeline and just what other incredible stories you'll be able to tell in a year from now.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. It was good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
Bye bye.